Well, welcome to Dub Nation and another Warriors season ticket holder town hall. And this one is going to be twice as nice because we have Andrew Wiggins as well as Aaron Miles. So I'm outnumbered by the Big 12 here. We got two Kansas guys. And it's an interesting time for everyone because the Warriors are replicating the bubble concept right now. And these guys are actually in quarantine for their 2 days before the team has the voluntary minicamp in San Francisco at Chase Center. So first of all, welcome to Andrew Wiggins and welcome to Aaron Miles. How are you guys doing today?
I'm feeling good, man. Another day. I spent a lot of time in my room, so just find a way.
We're going to work on your volume there, Andrew. Get that fixed up. Aaron Miles, what are you doing in quarantine? So I did this in Orlando. I had to quarantine before I could be part of the NBA bubble. It's a weird thing to say, hey, spend a couple days in a hotel room. What have you been doing to pass the time?
It's very weird, So when we got in yesterday morning, I actually just went to sleep. I stayed up late the night before just for that sole purpose, so therefore I wouldn't have to be awake in these four walls for so long. So I went to sleep for about 3-4 hours when I first arrived, and pretty much been doing a little working out, doing some reading, some typical things, and catching up on some phone calls.
Now, are you a book guy or a Netflix guy, or what do you do to pass the time?
I'm mixing it in a little bit. You find some videos. I've been on some, really, looking at some political things on the YouTube and reading some different things, and then about our history and so forth, trying to continue to educate myself in that regard. And then I find a couple of books, here or there that, pique my interest that I've heard about, so I'm not the most dedicated reader, but I'm working on it.
All right. So Andrew, kind of the same stuff for you. A 48-hour quarantine, how are you passing the time? I mean, it's always different for every different person. What have you been doing?
I just sleep a lot. I eat, watch Netflix, and then I play video games. That's about it.
Now, are you one of those guys where you're really good at certain video games, or is this something to pass the time, or is this a passion that you're good at?
No, I'm good at it. No, I'm good at playing.
Which games? What's the Andrew Wiggins go-to games?
It's not ping pong, I'll tell you that.
What's the series in ping pong? What is it?
Huh?
What's the series in ping pong?
You caught me with my hip bad.
What's the series in ping pong?
It's just 0-2 right now. But we got 2 weeks. We got a long stay around here.
I'm undefeated. As long as you know I'm undefeated. Yeah. But I play Call of Duty.
So now a lot of fans, Andrew, people knew of your play in Minnesota. Obviously, you're Rookie of the Year, National Player of the Year in Kansas. People are familiar with your resume until you were traded to the Warriors. But I think this is a chance for fans to really hear you tell the Andrew Wiggins story and get a feel for who you are as a person. And the one thing with Dub Nation is they really connect with the Warrior players. It's not just wins and losses on the court. They like the guys, and the kind of culture that really brings the Warriors together is because of the personalities and the people that put the uniform on. So give us Andrew, give me your Aaron Miles story. If you had to tell a stranger your connection with Aaron Miles, where does that start? Where does that begin? Give people a little flavor of that.
With Aaron, it starts in KU. When I got to KU, he would always come back and visit. He was a familiar face on campus. And he was close to the team. So my freshman year at Kansas, that's when, we got close and we kind of got familiar with each other.
And it's one of those things where you guys have the Kansas background, but what if you didn't like the guy? I mean, you guys have clicked as like coach and friend already, but what was it about Aaron's personality, your personality, that things kind of jived a little bit?
We can relate, we can relate, and Aaron, he's a very outgoing guy, even me back at Kansas, I was still more reserved, but he's more of an outgoing guy. He makes people feel comfortable in every situation, even if you don't want to talk, he's going to keep talking. And that's who he is, so that's how we became close.
So Aaron, I'll flip it on you in terms of, obviously everybody has pride in their alma mater. Kansas has just an incredible basketball lineage. You have a great playing career, and then obviously, doing very well on the coaching side of things. What was your approach or relationship with Andrew Wiggins in terms of how things clicked and maybe how you viewed the beginning of that friendship and relationship.
Yeah, well, back like he said, is going into his freshman year that summer. I mean, I lived in Lawrence, in the off season when I was back from playing overseas, and so I would be up at the facility at the school, playing pickup with the guys at the workouts with them and so forth. So, like he said, it became a familiar face, and obviously, having the chance to be around him, get a feel for him a little bit, and obviously as a Kansas brother, I'm always supportive and always, wanting him to do well. When he got drafted to Minnesota, traded to Minnesota, and there was always pulling for him. And so when I got the call and talked to Steve when he got traded, man, I was excited, just because I, see a lot of potential in him. And obviously as a Jayhawk brother, I want him to do well.
And Andrew, your journey is really interesting in that people are familiar. Steph's dad played in the NBA. Clay's dad played in the NBA. In your situation, your dad played in the NBA and your mom was an Olympic athlete. So as a young kid, were you drawn to athletics, or was it just something that came naturally or you had an interest in? It's kind of amazing. Your mom and dad, both elite athletes, and then you end up being the number one pick in the draft. It's like if we're doing the Andrew Wiggins life story, the beginning part is curious to me. You're growing up in Canada with the mom and dad that were just amazing at their chosen craft. What drew you to athletics?
Just the love for it, and I was around it. When I was very, very young, my dad was still playing, overseas, so just seeing that, I don't really remember too much, but just being around it as a kid and just growing up and all you see is basketball, all you see is sport. I got two older brothers that played basketball before me, so just watching them play, so I was always around it, always loved it, when as I get older, the love just grew for it.
Hey, Drew.
The funny thing is when the Warriors won their first championship, Klay Thompson got up at the parade and he said, I got my love of basketball from my dad, but thankfully I got my shooting from my mom. And so, his dad was the number one pick, Michael Thompson, but Klay is a better shooter than Michael ever was. Andrew, what'd you get from your mom athletically, do you think? Was she a hard charger or a driver in your career, or was she one that taught you how to deal with wins and losses? What did mom, with her Olympic stuff, kind of bring to the table for you?
I feel like a lot of my athletic ability came from my mom, and I feel like just the mindset, I feel like I more so got my mom's personality where I'm just, I'm reserved, but I observe everything, and just keeping me level-headed. My mom's very level-headed. She doesn't get too, too amped up. She doesn't get too low, too high. She just, level-headed, and I feel that's where I got my mindset from.
And then what is basketball like as a young kid in Canada? I think that's the trivia question people don't know. Outside of the United States, there's 105 international players out of the 450 in the NBA. But the second country after the U.S. is Canada in terms of NBA players. And obviously, we're all familiar with Steve Nash, and I'm going to get to a day you spent with him, and Nash very well. But what's it like for a young kid who wants to be a basketball player in Canada?
Basketball has become huge in Canada over the years. It was big when I was a kid, but now with the success of the Toronto Raptors, and how much NBA guys Canada has produced, the love for basketball in Canada has grown tremendously, over the years. So,
and Aaron, when you think of Andrew, the one thing I look at is how difficult it is to score 20 points a game in the NBA. And if we just took names away and he said, okay, 25 years old at 6'8", average 20, 44% shooter, all the accolades this nameless person's had, that is a pretty amazing and small forward list of guys who are 25 or younger who play the three that average 20 a game. Give people an idea of what's it like to have that number and know that that's your average day after day after day, year after year after year for a young 25-year-old player.
It's special. It's special. And obviously that speaks to his talent. having that ability, because 20 points a game is not easy. A lot of people think, 20 points a game, granted he didn't win a lot, but that can possibly put him on an all-star team. When you think about some of the all-stars out there, those are some of their numbers, around 20 to 24 points a game. And he's done it for a career. So think about that. How many years you been in the league now? 7 now, Drew?
Going on 7.
Yeah, going on 7. And what's scary about it is that he's had the responsibility of doing that as the only guy sometimes on the team. And now you put him with a Clay and a Steph, guys who's going to demand a lot more attention. Who knows what those numbers may be, and it may stay at 20, but the efficiency may be a lot better, so instead of 44%, it may be above 50% from the field, so we are all excited about him and his ability, from the offensive end, but even more so, me and him have talked about defensively, his ability to disrupt offenses, when he's all the way locked in. So, I think it's we're happy to have him and look forward to seeing it all come together.
Andrew, address what Aaron was talking about in that the draft is always interesting because the teams that struggle get the early picks. They take these young guys and they put the weight of the world on their shoulders and say, okay, change the whole fortunes of the franchise. And really, even with the Warriors, it wasn't Steph by himself or Clay by himself or Draymond by himself. It's the collective of the team has to get good, and then the team rises to a championship contender. To come here with a Steph, Clay, Draymond, and add you, I got to think your mindset's a little bit different as a Warrior than it would have been previously in your career, where, to Aaron's point, a lot of nights you had to carry all the mail, and maybe you and Kat a little bit in Minnesota. This has got to be exciting for you and thinking, wait a minute, I got a lot of guys around me now, and my role is still solid, but the teams can't key on me anymore. I've got a lot more buddies that can do damage to other teams.
For sure. I'm excited. I'm playing with MVP, all-stars, defensive players. So I'm excited, just to be able to, try to help those guys. They have had a lot of success. They ran the NBA for, the last couple of years. A couple years ago, I would never have thought I'd be on this team, but I'm excited, just to be part of something so special. And I can feel like just playing in the arena, the atmosphere, the fans, just the swag of the team is different, so I'm excited to be, part of it, and hopefully I can help them down the line.
And hey, Miles, when does a guy hit his prime? In that the prime in athletics is when your age and knowledge intersect with your physical abilities. We mentioned Andrew's 25. Is that 27, 28, 29? Like, when's the prime years for an NBA guy, do you think?
Typically it's 26, 27, 28, somewhere in that area, but Drew's been around for 7 years, so some guys hit it a lot earlier, and then can sustain it. Hell, you think about LeBron James, man, that man, yeah. he's still sort of in his prime, you know what I mean? We wouldn't typically say it like that, but, and he's been doing it for a long time. And I think Drew's at that stage right now where he's learned a lot. He's seen a lot as a professional. And I think it's about time he hitting that stride of his knowledge and his athletic ability and talent, combining together. And then I think it's also going to help, the fact that he's coming here with some guys who's been through the trenches and been through some things that can help him as well, continue to mature in that regard.
And what do you think, Andrew, in terms of, you always hear the game slows down or things like that. As the years have gone on in your career, the numbers, as I said, are still spectacular, but is it, wait, I know I can go to this move, or I know I can draw this foul, or I know I can score in this situation. What do you learn about the game the more you play it? Because athletically, you still can do unbelievable things, but I would think that the other side of the game as you mature is still adding to your toolbox.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Just the game, every year you're in the league, the experience, the knowledge, the game just slows down, and especially as you learn. And I've had a lot of different coaches, so I got a chance to pick a lot of different brains, and just to help me with my game, just to be able to score at all three levels. Defensively, my first couple of years in the league, I had to guard best 1, 2, 3 player, on the opposite team. So just learning, and just how the game is slowed down, knowing what to do in certain situations. That's the most important thing.
Hey Fitz, I'm gonna piggyback to that, man, because as a former player, when I came in the league, I couldn't imagine coming to the league, at age 19, like 18 or 19, like Drew did. So even when I did come into the league in 05, it was so much that I didn't know that, and so when I went overseas for those couple of years and was able to mature, and to your point, able to start to read the defense even more and not just kind of, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I began to understand and be able to dissect them. You start to watch film more, and it's not so much as about physical, it's more so some mental things that you're able to start to see. So when I came back over here at age 27, for me, my prime was about 27 through, 32 or so, in which everything slowed down. I began to understand what different the offense like to do, the different players, so that's part of hitting your prime when you start to, you studying film, you starting to recognize, okay, we're playing against, Devin Booker. He likes to go left, step back, whatever, that's part of, your maturity and hitting your prime as well.
Well, I think also too, it's how you impact the game. Young guys think, I got to score. That's how I'm going to impact the game. And then it's, wait a minute, we got to see Andre Iguodala teach a master class in maybe tonight I need to rebound. Maybe tonight I need to move the ball. Maybe tonight, to Andrew's point, I got to guard Kawhi or I got to guard LeBron. And if I can make him work, that'll help us win. Then there are nights I got to score. That mature players figure out, where do I impact the game tonight and how do I best help my team? And Andrew, when you were first acquired by the Warriors, I think the first couple of games, like most steals you ever had in your career, most blocks in a game you ever had in your career. Like initially, the defensive glimpse, I know you could score. I called all your games when we played the T-Wolves. I've seen your whole career in the league, but I'm thinking this guy at the 3 has some defensive chops that no one talks about or gives him credit for. I think that is a growth area for your game, and for the Warriors to be a title contender, it'll be demanded that you have to be an elite player defensively at the 3. What was it about those first couple games of the Dubs where defensively you were showing off all your skills?
I just wanted to come in, and just play hard, on both sides of the floor, and most importantly, defense. And I knew coming in, people knew I could score, but I just wanted to focus on other things, to try and help the team, just rebounding and blocking shots and just try to lock up defensively, just trying to show everybody that I can do both.
So Aaron, I'm gonna betray a little family secret within the team that I shouldn't do this, but enough time has passed I can do this. Is, last year towards the end of the year, it's the team's record wasn't where it needed to be. The Warriors had a ton of injuries. Everybody knows that story. But Steve Kerr gave the whole team the day off. And usually for guys in the league, if you get the day off, that's the time to be with your family and friends, get away from the gym. They tell you basically take the day off, give you a mental break. And I happen to be at Chase Center, and I'm looking around like, Andrew Wiggins is working out with Steve Nash. On a day off, Steve and Andrew are having like a little Canadian class together. And Andrew, I want you to tell me why. Like, that impressed me so much that here's a guy who's just been acquired, who's given the day off as the whole team was, yet that's the day that you and Steve Nash go spend time and have a little one-on-one session. Yeah. That blew me away. Like, I didn't share that with anybody until now, but that was something I observed about you that I didn't know. Give me the little backstory on that day.
Well, we had the day off, and I heard that Steve was in town, and, he would come by the facility. And I think it might be his last day in town, and when I knew I get a chance to work out with them, I didn't want to pass it up, so we got in the gym and, I was just picking his brain, and he was just teaching me things. So, and we got some good work in.
And so, to me, Aaron, what does that say about Andrew? Because I think that people don't realize what you do when no one's looking, that's how you improve. That's how you show your commitment. That's how you get better. That kind of blew me away a little bit. I was already kind of an Andrew Wiggins fan, but I think that sealed the deal for me.
I really think, so many times people, their perception of you is what they see, and so many times, like if you don't see somebody in the gym, I remember I think it was Dame Lillard, because he was doing some rapping and people started criticizing him like, hey, why you ain't in the gym? Why don't you showcase yourself in the gym or something like that? And then he made a funny video with the workout stuff. But his whole thing was, man, just because I'm not showing that don't mean I ain't in there. And I think a lot of times people have this thought like, well, he should be in the gym 24/7 or I don't see him in the gym right now. And it ain't nothing wrong. I like somebody that like to work in the dark and really grind at it, So for me, I love that about Drew, putting in the work when people either sleeping or when people think he's not, he's getting after it, so he ain't just sitting on his butt chilling, he get his video games in and so forth, but, he gonna put in that work.
What have you done with the season kind of untimely pause, Andrew, in terms of, I think LA is kind of where you hang out, but was it, I have to add something to my game, I have to stay in shape, I have to work on a different move? I know you've been working with your brother and things like that, but give fans an idea from March until now in this voluntary minicamp upcoming. What's Andrew Wiggins been up to? What have you been doing?
I've been in LA for most of the time, and I've been working out, getting stronger in the weight room. But yeah, most of the time it's working out. There's still a lot of stuff closed up there, so not really much to do, but just work out and be at home with my family. That's about it. But I've been getting a lot of shots up, working on tightening my ball handling. But yeah, moving without the ball, just different cuts that, a lot of the Warriors offensive playbook and people do. So just trying to get right for the season.
And that's one of those things, Aaron, when I think of, staying in shape for Andrew Wiggins, he's got one of those Greek god bodies already. So I don't think that kind of guy ever gets out of shape. You see some guys that are just unbelievable in the league, and he's one of them with that.
Definitely.
What can a guy do in the offseason, Miles, in terms of, like, I love Andrew said ball handling and looking at where he would fit in the Warrior offense. But, I always think of Magic early in his career. Teams left him alone from the outside. They knew he could drive and pass. So he developed a three, but it was a set shot three. But he just added it one offseason. Next thing you know, Magic shooting set shot threes and killing guys. The great players always seem to add something to a toolbox each and every year.
No doubt. And I mean, for me, when I look at Andrew, he has the ability to do a lot. He's great in transition. He can knock down a three, get to the elbow, mid post, all these different actions. So really, it's just honing in on some of those things. I think now I can't speak totally, obviously, for Coach Kerr, but I think he's somebody that, when you need a bucket or a great shot, you could throw it to him in the mid post or at the elbow off a triple threat, and he can go make something happen. So I really think, honing in on all of those, but being able to create from that space, and then when we talk about his shot, and in that area, finding this consistency within it, is key, because he's a good shooter. Just finding that consistency. And then lastly, I think, for me, I think some of the great players have ability to stay in great shape, so conditioning their bodies, whether that's some of them run the sand dunes and some of them run sprints, whatever the case may be, but making sure you're in shape, because I believe Andrew has the ability to dominate on both ends of the floor for 35 minutes a game for 82 plus, and so I think in order to do that, he has to make sure he maintains that condition level.
Andrew, when you look at maybe number goals, clearly trying to become an 80% free throw shooter or a 40% three-point shooter, those are kind of benchmark things in the league. And I think of even players like a Rudy Gay that even later in his career has become a 40% three-point shooter. And I don't think fans realize when you have to take a lot of threes or take shots at the end of a shot clock because your teammates throw you the ball and you got to make something out of nothing, the numbers get skewed for different guys. But your threes and your free throws will be so critical for the Warriors. Are those things that just you've been really focusing on and working on during all this downtime?
Yeah, every day. Every day those are 2 important keys, to my workout that I do. Make free throws and make threes. 'Cause I know I'm getting a lot of it, playing with the Warriors.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, even watching you with the Warriors with Minnesota, that as a slasher, you get fouled all the time. I mean, even the Warriors in their championship years defensively, you're still scoring 20 plus because you could get by guys and you're long enough to finish, or if they had to stop you, they'd foul you. I remember calling games thinking Wiggins is at the line his 10th time, his 11th time, and that's such a gift, especially late in games, to be able to get fouled. And it's a skill that not a lot of guys possess, and it's a part of your game that I don't think Warrior fans really will have seen yet, but they will come to appreciate. That's got to be one where the real scorers, they get that 6, 7, 8. Harden's led the league in free throw attempts every year. That's something in your game that I don't think a lot of people think of right away, but I do. It's a productive part of what you do offensively.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's something to help get in rhythm too. You get to the foul line early, you see the ball go to the hoop. It puts you in a good rhythm. And it just helps me stay aggressive. As long as you're aggressive attacking the rim, you're gonna get some foul calls.
All right. So are you guys ready for like season ticket holder questions, like fan questions here? I mean, these could go anywhere. So are you buckled in, you're quarantined, you're ready for where the fans are going to take you guys? You all set?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So, Andrew Wiggins, when did you realize you wanted to have a career in basketball?
I was too young to remember wanting to have a career in basketball. It was just something that was part of me my whole life. Something that I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Now, one of the things is that you dunked for the first time at age 13. Is that fair? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Now, if I was 13 and could dunk, I would just be dunking all the time over every other little kid I could ever find. Like, once you could dunk, how often were you trying to dunk at 13?
I would try to dunk all the time, but it wasn't easy though. I would try all the time.
Hey, Miles, at 13, were you dunking or not?
Man, nah, not I. I had a little Nerf hoop I dunk on. I practiced them dunk on the Nerf hoop, but nowhere near. I got my sons, man. They, we be going over to a little hoop practicing dunking, and on a small hoop. My son is 11 years old, man. And it's on like a 7-foot goal or something like that. And when I told him that Drew dunked at age 13, he's like, "Dang, that's in 2 years. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that." Like.
Andrew Wiggins, who was your NBA team growing up? Who'd you pull for?
It was the Raptors and Philly. Just because I was an Iverson fan.
Okay, now this is an interesting one. Is that past or current players you would consider as role models in your sport? So obviously AI. Who didn't love AI in terms of how he played and just the energy he brought every game, but are there other past players that you modeled your game or you thought a lot about in terms of who they were as players?
Vince Carter, just because, he was like a hometown hero growing up, Toronto Raptors, and he was that guy, and then obviously Kobe Bryant, just because there was nothing he couldn't do, just his energy, his passion, his will to win, everything.
Hey, Miles, who were your guys growing up? Who were people you looked up to and really respected that were in the league?
I'm gonna say a couple people. Being from Portland, Damon Stoudemire and Terrell Brandon were 2 point guards. But my first taste of basketball when I was about 6, 7 years old was Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas. I love those two. I love Magic's ability to, to play, the joy that he played with and exuded, and the way he pushed the ball on the break. And then Isaiah Thomas, man, he's small, he's tough, competitive. I just love I love those two.
I always like this one. This is always interesting. Is if you weren't an NBA player, Andrew, what would you be doing for a living? Do you think?
If I wasn't, I probably would have tried to follow my mom's footsteps and ran track.
Really? What discipline? What event you think?
Growing up, I liked the 100-meter and triple jump.
Now, Aaron, is Andrew got 100-meter speed, do you think, or not?
Absolutely. I ain't gonna lie. Absolutely. It's effortless too. We talked about that the other day a little bit, and he told me that he ran track. What'd you say up until your freshman year, Drew?
Yeah.
You know, and because, you know, knowing that his mom was an Olympian and you already can see his athletic ability. When he get on the floor, that's why we always say his first 3 steps, he should be going. He should get 2 breakaway layups easily playing with us next year. Again.
Because see, but Andrew, you're one of those guys where you're fast, talk about it, and are fast. There's a lot of guys that think they're fast that they're not. You know, I mean, that's and they chat it up, but they ain't good runners. I'm with Aaron Miles as far as you are about a 3-stride guy from midcourt to the rim. So the breakaways, that might be a little frequent occurrence, I think.
No, for sure.
What piece of advice is for both of you guys would you give young kids interested in pursuing basketball? Miles, why don't you go first in terms of you have youngsters yourself, but get advice for young kids in terms of if they want to play hoops.
You know, the big thing is foundation and the fundamentals of it. You know, so I'm not sure exactly what age they're asking about, but you know, my kids are elementary school age, and I just teach them basic foundation, man, of dribbling, being in the stance, some of those different fundamentals, how to properly shoot the ball. I try to tell them not to, you know, get out there and hoist up the threes, but you already know everybody want to be Steph and Clay, you know, so they still do it. But, you know, you try to just work on their form and some of those basic fundamentals. You know, and then as you progress, man, I think, you know, for us, especially in the Golden State and just in general, for me, you know, I love somebody that's competitive, that loves to play, that loves to get after it, you know. So if you got a passion for it, you know, a lot of people just do a lot of workouts, which is great and fine, but I like to see somebody get out there and compete. So kids that need, you know, should get their workout in, but also play, whether that's playing pickup at the park, playing one-on-one with a friend, whatever it is, you know, just that competitive nature is something that takes you a long way as well.
What do you think, Andrew, for young kids just getting into hoops and things like that? What are a couple things you might pass along?
I would say there's a couple important things. You know, some of them is discipline. You know, just try and do the right stuff and focusing. You know, and another main thing is sacrificing. You know, playing basketball. If you want to be an elite player, it takes a lot of sacrifice. You know, sacrifice away from your family, away from your friends, away from things that a normal teenager or a child, you know, might want to do, like hang out with your friends, stuff like that.
I always think of, I think Adele Curry was Steph for both you guys, where Steph had the shot from his hip because he was too little. And midway through high school, Dell said, now you got to learn to shoot the right way. This hip shot's not going to work as you. So maybe, Andrew, it's practice, but the fundamentals and kind of perfect practice so you don't develop bad habits. And that'd be right in the discipline you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. You don't want to practice bad habits. Bad habits are hard to break, you know. So if you can fix them early, you know, that'd be ideal.
This is the easiest one. Daniel says, which teammate or coach helped you acclimate to the team in the Bay Area? Would it be Aaron Miles, Andrew?
Let me think. Yeah, of course. You know, he's coming here. He's the first person that, you know, really I spoke to and got, you know, helped me feel comfortable. You know, out here, tell me where to go, what it's like, everything.
This is from Ryan. What's been the favorite moment in your basketball career? You've had a number of them in high school, college, NBA. You know, we're thinking Anthony Davis with that game winner against Denver. That's probably the highlight so far for AD. But for you, what is there a moment or two that still jump out at in your hoops career?
Right now, being drafted for sure. You know, entering the NBA is for sure one of my favorite moments. You know, just because it's a dream come true. You know, and there was a goal when I was younger, and I, you know, accomplished that goal. I got it. And another one would be making the playoffs. My 4th year in the league, we made the playoffs as an 8th seed, and we were tied for 8th with Denver, and we had 1 game left versus Denver, both of us, to see who would make it to the playoffs. And then we ended up winning by like a point or two, you know. So just beating them and getting the chance to make the playoffs for the first time, you know, and going to the playoffs and playing in it, you know, that was something that stuck with me because I haven't been back yet, you know, and next year is the year that we can change it.
Yeah, that's how about when they told you were Rookie of the Year?
That was great too. That was another great moment.
Hey, Miles, give me a couple stroll down the memory lane for you in terms of hoops.
Oh man. Well, I'm just gonna say, man, starting off my high school, winning the state championship in high school. You know, Jefferson High School, Portland, Oregon, 2000 state championship. We went undefeated. You know, it was a bunch of my brothers that I grew up with in the same community. You know, and so for us to accomplish that with the whole city behind our back, you know, it was amazing. And then going to the Final Four at Kansas was huge for me. You know, I went there twice, and so, you know, just winning. I enjoy that. I enjoy winning. So things that have done that, man, playing overseas, winning some championships over there, is that feeling is second to none for me. So as far as my basketball career, you know, yeah, that's what I would say.
All right, Andrew, I'm going to combine this one. Do you have a favorite song to listen to or any pregame rituals that people are always curious about what guys are superstitious about? Is there an Andrew Wiggins thing that you got to do on a day of game or pregame or a song or a meal, or give me an idea of your routine?
Man, my songs, they switch every game. It's just what I'm feeling. So I can't really give you no specific song, but pregame ritual or pregame plan. Well, I'll have to shoot around, wake up for shoot around, come back, I eat, and then I take a long nap, probably like 4 hours.
Wow.
4 hours probably. Yeah, I sleep and then wake up, get ready for the game. That's about it.
Hey, Miles, any pregame stuff that you had? Were you superstitious like that?
Nah. I try to switch things up intentionally, so therefore I don't bases on, you know, any of those superstitions. So no, I don't have anything like that at all. You know I'll say I'm with Andrew as a player. I would go back after shoot-arounds and take a nap. I wasn't taking a 3-4 hour nap, but I have to get those naps in. You know, I was overseas over in Spain and Greece, and, you know, we got those nice siestas over there, you know, where you just shut everything down in the city. So I love some naps.
What's the craziest thing? You don't have to name the guy, but what's the, you know, there's guys I know, 27 years in the league, they had to have chicken nuggets. Home, road, whatever, it was always chicken nuggets. And then also when the Warriors started 24-0, guys were driving to the arena the same way, wearing the same socks. Like guys start to, you know, we ain't messing with this winning streak. Whatever people were doing, like I was looking at which tie I was wearing when we were winning. I didn't want to change certain ties. Like it got ridiculous sometimes. Give me any. Don't have to name the names, but do you guys ever have teammates or know about some superstitious stuff around the league that was just a little bit weird that people just thought it worked for why they were doing well?
Man, I couldn't tell you. I don't really know of anything. I don't know of anything.
I'll say, you know, it wasn't in the league. When I was in college, a teammate of mine, Keith Langford, who's, you know, been arguably one of the best players of the last decade over in Europe. You know, if he had a bad first half, at halftime, he was switching his shoes. If he had a bad first half, he was going in there switching his shoes. So that was his little superstition. And he'd come out killing, you know what I mean? But I don't know if it's a psychological thing or what. But if he had a bad first half, he switched some shoes and, you know, he was about to go to work. He transformed on us.
Now, I'll throw one out for you guys. This is a true story, but Warrior fans will figure out who this is very quickly, but I'm not going to out him on this. There is a guy who took a shower in his uniform at halftime because he had a bad first half.
Really?
Now, in his uniform.
Really?
Went in the shower and then played squishing around in his uniform the whole second half, and the Warriors won the game.
That has to already be out, so you might as well tell us, Fitzy.
Andrew, if I said that, who do you think that would be?
Man, I got no clue.
I'm going to tell you who I think it is.
Give me a guess.
For whatever reason, I think it's like Chris Mullin or something, man. I think Mullin would be got mad at himself and ran in there real quick and then just came out and went to work.
I'll let people put it together. He went to Arizona and he wore the number 0.
The agent, huh? The agent, huh? Okay.
Showered in his uniform at halftime.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a Warrior legend story right there. Along those lines, Andrew, someone's asking which team. This ain't even right. I'm not going to make you do this, but it says which teammate has the messiest locker. Don't name names, but are there guys that keep their locker straight and then guys that let everything go crazy or not?
Yeah, some guys are neat freaks. Some guys keep their locker, really, really clean, and some guys let it, get out of control.
What about you, Miles? You see guys that got everything all structured versus guys that just let everything go everywhere?
I mean, I'm just going to say Mike Brown is one of the tightest and neatest men that I ever been around, man. He keep that thing nice and tight, right? This
is for both you guys. The top 3 apps used on your phone. Why don't you start, Andrew? What apps you got on your phone that are your go-tos?
Instagram, Apple Music, and
that means you're not on your phone that much. I like that.
No, I'll be on my phone. And probably Safari.
Okay. All right. Hey, Miles, what about your top 3 apps?
My top 3 apps? I don't know. What's funny is that I never really was big in social media, except, and I'm still not heavy in it, but over this quarantine, you just find yourself just with idle time to just pick through something on Instagram or Twitter. I tap in on some Safari and go to Yahoo a little bit. And then, occasionally, try to watch some Netflix, but I don't be huge on it like that,
Okay. I'll let you guys, we'll kind of wrap it up with this is, Andrew, with this voluntary mini camp, what are you looking to get out of it? Is it just developing further relationships with the guys, just making sure everybody's kind of sharp where they're at? Other than Miles kind of developing that rapport with the coaching staff, what are a couple things you want to get out of these next couple weeks?
Just building up some chemistry, just building up the chemistry, building a relationship with these guys and, building a relationship with the coaching staff. We're all going to be bundled together for 2 weeks, it's just us, so also getting better as a unit. That's it, getting more familiar, getting better as a unit and improving. That's the most important thing, and having fun. We're here for 2 weeks. We wouldn't want to go crazy. We want to have fun, be competitive, stay focused, but have fun also.
And Aaron, we'll kind of finish with along those same lines is, I don't know if fans realize in the pressure moments of games, and we're all watching the playoffs right now, it is the trust and the chemistry that's built over all the previous time. You don't just show up and say, hey, we have a lot of talent and we're going to win. There's some talented teams from Los Angeles in particular that already got sent home that that building and that trust and that camaraderie, that carries you through the tough times. And that's built sometimes in camps like this. I mean, what are you looking for the Warriors as a whole to maybe get out of this time together?
I mean, I think you're absolutely right. A lot of times you develop relationships, personal relationships, where you start to care about each other off the court, into a sense where when something happens on the court, it's coming from a good place. Because like you said, there's going to be some adversities. There's going to be some tough times on that court. There's going to be times where players get into it. I mean, I think we've seen it with the Boston Celtics and the way they was in their locker room arguing and whatever. But they understood that, man, it was coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing for a team to have, to understand that, listen, we may disagree, we may get into it, but we still together, and that's all right. And I think that comes from the relationship that you have and you build.
Give you a final thought, Andrew. Tell Warrior fans just how excited you are for this next upcoming season. Are they going to work out all the logistics, and obviously we'll be sharing that with our season ticket holders. But just this is you. The floor is yours to kind of tell Warrior fans where your mind's at as far as next year.
I'm very excited. You know, next year should be a big year for us. You know, there's no reason why we can't take it all the way. There's no reason. We got the team for it, we got the coaching staff for it, you know, and all the puzzles and pieces are going to fit perfectly, you know, so why not?
Yeah, I'm going to leave everybody with two things. This is from Orlando, but also for here. One, make sure you vote. Make sure you register to vote. Find 5 people that are friends of yours and get them to vote. Be sure people vote on November 3rd. And then from the Warrior medical staff, everybody get a flu shot. Like for the world, everybody get a flu shot heading into the fall. I've never gotten one, and I'm going to get one this fall because the Warrior doctors have explained just how important it is for all society that we don't have a flu pandemic on top of a world health pandemic. So vote, register to vote, get friends to vote, and get your flu shot. Those would be the 2 things I kind of leave everybody with. Hey, Miles, you made it through all the season ticket holder stuff. Andrew, man, I love watching you play and can't wait to broadcast games with you in a Dubs uniform again. We're all looking forward to next season, and we're going to definitely communicate to you season ticket holders everything going on. But thanks, man, for both of you taking your time. I really appreciate it. Long conversation, but a good one for all the fans. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Bob, man. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your time off. I guess you could say. I don't know what to say about this time right now. It's so weird.
All right, well, have fun in the mini camp, and we'll check in with both of you guys. Be good.
All right.
All right, take care now.